People are not as interested in ideology as you think they are. They look at people who are leaders. They react in an emotional way. And when they see people who are not willing to fight, who are not willing to stand for something, they unconsciously go, these people are weak. They're going to be weak leaders. I don't want to vote for them. You know, I'm thinking about political situation in the state of the Democratic Party, which is kind of pathetic and it's kind of sad. And some of it is self-inflicted and deserving. But because of that, it's a very bleak moment for people of that persuasion and everything looks kind of hopeless. The way I react to this is, no, it's never hopeless. What matters, and I read an article today that severely disagreed with this, but I'll make my point. What matters is our fighting spirit. And what I mean by that is the problem with the party is that it doesn't seem to stand for anything. It seems so weak. It seems so splintered. It seems like just a patchwork of interest groups, of niches. It doesn't stand for anything that can be summarized rather simply. This is the ideals we believe in. This is who we are. And for the past 15 years, even longer, 20 years, the party's been pushed around. It's kind of like a rag doll, like a dog with a toy in its mouth. It's just being played. It has no energy. It doesn't fight. It doesn't stand for anything. It's so weak. And it was revealed in this election how weak it is. And, you know, the old phrase, when they go low, we go high. Well, you know personally how I don't believe in that at all as the author of the 48 Laws of Power. When people go low, you have to show them that you're willing to fight on their terms. You don't lose your values, but you're willing to play hardball with them. And so it's a party that's lost its fighting spirit. And because it doesn't look like it's worth fighting for anything, it doesn't stand for anything solid, it's not worth losing battles. Why vote for this party? People are not as interested in ideology as you think they are. They look at people who are leaders. They react in an emotional way. And when they see people who are not willing to fight, who are not willing to stand for something, they unconsciously go, these people are weak. They're going to be weak leaders. I don't want to vote for them. And a classic point was the recent caving in on the shutdown, and all the rational arguments for what the bad things that can happen. No. Sometimes you have to use your leverage. Sometimes you have to take a defeat. Sometimes you have to do something that's going to alienate people, that's going to be painful for you and for others, but will show that you stand for something, that there's a line in the sand that you won't cross. And the party has to get its act together on that level. It has to reveal itself as having that kind of spirit. And I look at it this way. Sometimes having an enemy, a foe, is the best thing that can happen to you. What made Muhammad Ali great was Joe Frazier, was having a competitor who was almost on his level that made him raise his game. And that's how I look at Donald Trump. Finally, the Democratic Party has to get its act together and define itself against him, who they are, what they stand for, what they're willing to fight for, what they're willing to not fight for, etc. Okay? They can use this moment to define who they are, to make it very clear and to communicate it in a way that will satisfy people and will show that they're not just full of these, coastal liberals with their out-of-touch ideas, but that have some things that are going to strike the country at its core, working class, and that they're willing to fight for it. And this is a moment that can be very powerful and actually the best moment of all, because we now have to define who we are and what we stand for in opposition and make it clear and figure this riddle out. And so it's actually, strangely enough, a moment that is fortunate, and we have to embrace this moment.